I'm Anil Kumar, and in this particular video we will consider combination of functions. I have taken a specific example here. So we'll consider f of x equals to x, a linear function, when combined with, let me write g of x here, second function as sine of x. Right, so we are trying to combine a linear with a sinusoidal function, and if we add them, that is to say, if we add f of x and g of x, then what happens? Let's say we get a function h of x, then what happens? Now, these two functions have no restrictions on their domain, so they can be added, or this operation of combination of the function can be performed on the domain of real numbers. There is no restriction. That is one part. And second thing which we should realize is that when we combine these two functions, then the result is superposition of one over the other. As you can see on this particular graph, we have a line, let us say, which goes through. So let me just draw a line here. And on this line, the sine wave rides, right? So whenever you combine a function by adding or subtracting them, then the result is that for the respective x values, both y values get added up. So that is what we call superposition, right? So superposition of functions. So combination of functions is superposition of functions for their corresponding x values. So that is, in short, how we can understand what happens when we combine two functions, right? So in general, you can always have this kind of a position. Now, this was a good illustration. If I have combination of function, let us say p of x equals to a polynomial, which is x squared, and if I combine this with my function f of x equals to x, then what do you expect? Now, in this particular case, you don't see a figure like that, but what you see here in this particular case will be a parabola, since if I combine them, what do I get? I get h of x as equals to x squared plus x. So it's still a parabola, right? But it has shifted. Now we could write this as x plus 1. So it has shifted. This has 1 0, this has 2 0. So we do have a parabola which has shifted and kind of changed its position, of course. But you can always calculate the values by adding the corresponding values of their x values with y values. So again, the same superposition principle will be applied to get the result of the combination of these two functions. So in the following videos, we will consider few more examples. As a practice, what you can do is you can work with functions like, let's say, square root x. Let's say sx is equals to square root of x. And then let us say that we have a function f of x. Let's combine this with x. Now when you try to combine these two functions, then as you know that the domain of square root of x is not all real numbers. So this operation can only be done in the domain which is common to both. So this operation can be done in the domain where x belongs to real numbers, but x is greater than equal to 0, right? So that is important. So whenever you're doing combination of functions, take care that it should be done in common domain. We cannot perform these operations when x value is negative, right? That is key to this. Now, keeping that in mind, here is a question for you. The question is, if I have a function, let's say L of x, which is log x, and I have a function, let us say E of x, which is 2 to the power of x. In that case, can you sketch the function L of x plus Ex, combination of these two functions? Remember, log x domain is restricted. So when you do this kind of a combination, in that case, you have to take care of common domain, which will be greater than 0, right? So that is how you have to look into these particular functions when we consider addition or subtraction of functions. Subtraction is of course addition of negative of these, right? So we could either do L of x, L of x minus E of x. We'll treat this also as superposition, adding with the negative value of the exponential function, right? So it's kind of the same thing. So we'll deal with addition and subtraction in further details in this particular set of videos. I hope you understand the basic principle, that is that this operation should be performed on common domain, right? And the end result you will get by superposition of y values, correct? Superposition of y values. Is that okay? So these two things should help you to actually understand the whole concept and answer most of the questions in this particular chapter. I hope that helps. Thank you and all the best.